We've done it. We have gotten Michelle here for Pinterest. Everyone's excited. Christina Nicole is here. This has been probably, Michelle, I think our most anticipated stream in a long time because I've been getting so many comments about Pinterest for I don't know how long, God. And I mean, you moderate my comments, so you see a lot of that. So if you guys are new here and you're wondering who the heck Michelle is, if you were to go back, oh man, how many years? 7, 8 years?
Yeah, it's been a
Seven
while.
or a long time. If you go back, way back on my channel, there are some really old episodes of the Friday Bean with Michelle where we're talking about taxes almost a decade ago. Oh God.
Yeah.
And then so Michelle and I started working together because I posted like a really general status around the pandemic asking if anybody knew, like, I needed help with publishing. I was trying to publish my science fiction book and I needed like beta readers and I needed to know the process of publishing. And Michelle just jumped up and is like, I will volunteer as tribute. So through all of that, she helped me get my book published. We started a bookish Etsy shop together because I bullied her into reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, peer pressured her. And then she turned into a big book nerd like me. So we started licensing with authors. She started working for me. It's been over a year now, right?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. She started doing some of my like back end work. She helps with making downloads for the Patreon. And then she started working on Pinterest, really dialing in on Pinterest, learning how it works. And she's been developing some Pinterest mini courses. So that's really fun. I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that here in just a few minutes. But Michelle, aside from it, was that a decent introduction? Did I miss anything in that process?
No, no, it's been a odds and ends collab on many different things.
Yeah. So, you guys hear about Michelle a lot. I bring her up pretty much every stream, for one reason or another. But we wanted to give you guys the opportunity to ask some questions about Pinterest, which we'll get into in just a few minutes. But Michelle, how do you want to do this? Did you have I feel like I should have talked to you about this beforehand, but do you have a game plan of things you want to cover first, or is it a free for all?
I'm kind of good with a free for all. I did some talking points just in case they were a little slower with questions starting to come in. As you know, I can ramble on about Pinterest for hours. So,
well, that's good. And Christina Nicole's in the chat. She said Michelle is a genius in so many areas. Because last time you were here, you were talking about taxes. And every time I'm talking about you, we're usually talking about publishing and books. And now we're talking about Pinterest.
Yep. I do have a variety of interests.
So, to start, and while we're waiting on some questions to come in, and I will try my best, guys. If you guys see me looking up here, it's because obviously Mark's not here today because it's hard to have 3 people on stream. And I've got to keep up with the chat and I'm not very good at it. So just be patient with me. I will try to keep up with everything. But first of all, when you log into eRank and you look at Etsy's biggest traffic source, I guess now it's ShopBuzz. Etsy's biggest traffic source for the last few years in terms of social media. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a time when there was a social media platform driving more traffic than Pinterest.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Pinterest really isn't social media. That's the
right
exception there. It's more of a search engine. It's a visual search engine, but think of it as another Google instead of thinking of it as another Now, see, I'm getting tongue-tied. You all will have to excuse me. Ever since I went through all the cancer treatment, I have this brain fog that kind of kicks in sometimes, and words are a little slow coming to me when I'm talking. But so
Michelle, I don't even have such a good like reason to get tongue-tied. And see, everybody here like is gonna say, yeah, Michelle, if anybody has a good reason, none of us do. We're just decaffeinated right now.
There you go. I was hoping it was going to be a good day, but like I said, Pinterest isn't a social media, and so when you stop thinking of it as a social media platform, I think that's one of the reasons I love it. It takes some of the stress out of it. If you look at it as a more long-term, evergreen search engine, that instead of looking at it as like, oh, I've got to post because it's social media, then like I said, it takes all that stress out. It makes it calmer. And that's the whole thing I love about Pinterest, because I think we're all kind of in that chaos of everything, social media, life, everything. And Pinterest, I think, is a calming source for creative businesses to use in this world of chaos. I think we're all looking for that calm. I know I'm looking for the calm.
And that's really why Pinterest was invented. They wanted it to be a more positive space. Mm-hmm. And usually anytime I see a presentation put on by Pinterest, one of the things that they highlight is that it is a place where most of the content, and I'm not saying that there's no negative content on Pinterest, but for the most part, everything you see is either creative, uplifting, inspirational. It gives you ideas. And I really feel like people get on Pinterest in order to either build a dream. So let's say like, oh, I'm a new mom, or maybe, I just found out that I'm pregnant and I want to design the perfect baby nursery. So I make a board and I start collecting all the color palettes and the furniture that I want to buy. So there's that. But then there's also like, I'm going to keep my entire catalog of recipes on Pinterest, and I'm going to have one folder for all my paleo recipes and one folder for all my naughty desserts and, whatever it might be. But either way, it's a great place to be, not just as someone who is using it as someone who's scrolling the feed, but also, like Michelle said, as a creator, because you can kind of avoid that negativity. I mean, you can comment on things, but I don't see negative comments on Pinterest. Like, you can comment, but it's like not the primary function.
No, and that's different too. You're not chasing those likes, and you're not chasing those comments, and you're not Pinterest goes more, their algorithm.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Give us just a second. We might have to call Mr. Moore down to fix this. Oh, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Ah! Hold on. Help. I hear him moving. How you guys doing? Yeah. Michelle disappeared and I don't know how to get her back. Okay. He'll be down in a minute. How you guys doing? How's everybody feeling? Are we all excited? It's such a great visual search engine. What I love about Pinterest is that if you're already, because I'm on everything. I am on every single social media that there is. And when I am on Pinterest, I feel like everything that I'm already creating for other platforms, whether it be video content,
Did she drop off?
Yeah, she dropped off. Whether it be video content, whether it be posts, whether it be images, I can get those over to Pinterest fairly easily, especially if I'm using something like Metricool, for example, which is my preferred social media. There she is.
Nope, she dropped off immediately.
Oh, no. There she is. Okay. We got her. You're good.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I can now. I have like 7, 8, no, 9 of you on my screen.
Okay.
And you're freezing ever so often. So I'm not sure what's going on.
She said that we're freezing every so often on her side.
Our connection's good.
Yeah, it's got to be on your end.
Like I said, I've got 10 of you now.
Okay.
We don't have any reports on our end, so our light.
Do you need, are we good? Like, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I think we're good.
Okay.
Like I said, I have 10 of you.
I'll be back next week, Shari, I promise.
This is what happens when Mark is not down here. I say everybody, like 3 buttheads probably a month will comment and say, "Who's that guy? Who is he? Why is he here?" I'm like, you don't understand. Love you. If he wasn't here, everything would go wrong. Michelle, we are already got comments like piling in. Do you want to, maybe we can like get to comments, and then if it quiets down, which I doubt it will, but we can, kind of run with, we don't need to answer all the questions if we don't get to the end within the time frame. I think that we just answer questions, and if they springboard new ideas or topics that you want to keep talking about, I try to not treat the questions as like a checklist where I have to get through every question. I would rather us answer questions thoroughly and have like a good conversation about it. And I think that everybody else agrees.
Yeah,
so, okay, cool. So Nicole asked, what's the best way to use Pinterest with Etsy now that we can't link our shop directly? Which I've heard that question so much since we've started talking about Pinterest. Everybody wondering I wonder why Pinterest got rid of that, where you could almost claim your shop.
Well, they've all gotten eBay, Amazon, Etsy, all of them. They all claimed them for themselves. Each corporates have claimed them.
Okay.
So they have become verified merchants. So you can still link to your Etsy. You just can't do where you like claim your whole shop and it automatically brings in all your product pins. So now it's a tad more work on you in that you've got to do the posting, but you can still link directly to your Etsy. And I definitely encourage you to use your shop and save links when you do that. But no, you can still link to your shop. You can link to a category. You can link to a direct product. So you can still link. And if you happen to see your product that Etsy has posted, because what it is Pinterest goes through and scrolls Etsy for the most popular viewed items, and they automatically pin them to Pinterest for Etsy. You can then post it to one of your boards, and then you do get a product pin then that's on your board. You can search by your shop address. You can search by your shop name. I don't suggest spending a bunch of time doing that. But if you happen to see, or if someone tells you, hey, I happen to see it, you can post it and link it over to your board. So then you're still getting that. But it doesn't stop you from pinning on Pinterest and sending them to your shop. You just can't claim your shop.
And I know that this is going to be a follow-up question, and it's kind of in the same vein, but nonstop. And I know you've been hearing it a lot. What's better? Pinning directly with the little pin it buttons in your Etsy shop, or creating a fresh pin and uploading a photo and putting all your own description and title in there?
I would create your own. Now, of course, if you're using Canva, you can easily resize them and then add the additional. But remember that Pinterest, unlike any other site, Pinterest reads everything. It reads the name of your photo. It reads any text that's on your photo. It reads your description and everything. So you have multiple opportunities to get keywords in there. So if you take your product and even just put a simple little title on there and put your logo on there, so that's someplace you do want to put your logo to get people to recognize it. It makes it stand out, because when people see those images with no text on it, they automatically know that they're selling you something. They're not, and it's not that Pinterest is bad to sell, because people actually, that's one of the things about it. They go to Pinterest intentionally to look for things they want to buy. So that's why it's great for creative sellers. But they know, I think people tend to like the ones that they know are more from the people and not from these big companies. So like from Amazon and everything, they don't have any text. They're just using your product photos. So take those same product photos, make a few little changes, but make it yours and make it specifically for Pinterest.
That's the thing that drives me the most crazy on any social media platform. And I think it's something that a lot of people, they have a knowledge of what a good print ad would look like if they were designing a flyer or something that would go in a magazine, where they want to tell you everything about it on the image. And what once did well for print advertising does not convert over to like Instagram or Pinterest. So you see these like giant, ridiculous, almost infographic style posts. And if you were an educator or something and you were trying to teach them something, that would be different. But if it's like sterling silver earrings, great quality, made in USA, blah, 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 like none of that is essential. Pinterest is a place where someone sees something beautiful or something, cool to look at, something that they might be interested in buying. And it's the photo that does all of that talking. And pinning directly, if I'm not mistaken, that's the only way you can add things like alt text, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because even in Metricool, I don't think you can add, I use it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason. I'll be honest, there's lots of, and I have nothing against them. They're great, but I don't use any of the apps when I pin to Pinterest because I want to be able to put all the information on it. I use Pinterest's own free pinning option. You can schedule out now. I think it's like a year or two now. So, that was the downside before. You couldn't, pin way out. Now you can pin way out. You can schedule them. I use the free one. So I don't pay for any other Pinterest service. Now I use Metricool for like Instagram and everything else. But for Pinterest, I go directly to Pinterest to pin.
That's interesting. And what I was telling them when you had dropped off the call was that I love that you can take content that you would be posting on social media anyway. Like, your Instagram reels, all of that now. Pinterest, you can post videos. In fact, I have found myself, especially when it comes to like recipes and, wanting to see like how something is made, I gravitate towards Pinterest a lot. I've been looking at Pinterest for video, like costume ideas for our music festival, just because for a long time, it wasn't a video platform, but now I feel like it's about, I'm not going to say 50-50. I think the images are still very dominant on Pinterest, but a good majority of the content now that at least I'm seeing on Pinterest is recycled clearly from TikTok, from Instagram, just because you can do video now. Yeah.
Videos are still very underutilized. So it's a great opportunity, and Pinterest allows you to do that 9:16 format that you use on like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook Reels. You can put that directly on Pinterest. You can create. Now, if you create a video specifically for Pinterest, I still say go into their 1,000 by 1,500 size, but they let you, another underutilized is carousels because most people don't know how to do them anymore. It's really odd. And that's the plus to having a business account. I always encourage all creative sellers to make sure you have a business account, but you can do carousels through the ads. And that posts to your page. Now they're only 655. They're 5 images now, so they're shorter than they are on Instagram. But I think that's an underutilized. I love carousels. I even on Instagram, I find myself looking at a lot of carousels because you can look at them at your own speed and you can read what's on it without being rushed with a video. And so carousel is definitely something that's underutilized on Pinterest. So there's another opportunity there to stand out.
I didn't even know that you could, because you can't do it with Metricool. It'll come up.
You can't do it if you just do a pin.
Oh, it's got to be the ad.
It's got to be through the ads, or if you link your Instagram account. Now, personally, I tell people don't link your Instagram account. I don't, because not everything on Instagram needs to be on Pinterest.
Sure.
I don't like that link, but if you have it linked and do a carousel on Instagram, it will pull that over to Pinterest. So there are 2 ways to do it. But yeah, you can do it through the ads. I don't know why. You could do it as a pin. It keeps coming and going. Carousel seems to be that like feature that like they give you, they take away, they give you. And like I said, right now it's just through ads, but you can do it without actually turning it into an ad. So you can get it on there and still get some carousels on there.
That's interesting. I would hope that in the long term, they would integrate it as just a normal feature, because I know TikTok did, where you can pick music, but you can still have like scrollable image based carousels. So maybe that's maybe that's something that they'll incorporate for everybody in the future, because I think that most platforms have stated that it's one of the most engaged pieces of content. I know Instagram, they said that the carousels, there was a point, at least a couple months ago, maybe like a year ago, where they were saying that carousels were doing better than reels for a while. And I don't know if that's still the case, but and it's so easy. I mean, you pick a couple of photos and,
Well, it's great to like show your product in different settings, or explain your process, or it's great. You can do the long infographics because Pinterest lets you do that 1,000 by 2,100. You can do the really long for an infographic, but I like carousels better for like showing step by step. This is how I did it, or showing it in in a living room and showing it on a desk.
Right.
You've got different products showing it. Those lifestyle photos is what people are looking for because they want to see how they can use it personally. Like I said, they're going there shopping for ideas.
Yeah, or even, I'm a big fan of collections. If you've got a cool collection to showcase, being able to show off like, here's one piece and here's the next piece. I do that a lot with brands I like, where I'm like so excited to scroll through I do that a lot with Bookish Box, where I'm like, what's the next thing going to be? What book did they do next? Right. Let's see. Someone had said, let's see, Callie and Co. The other year, Pinterest drove thousands to my shop. It seems random, though. I wonder if that's based on overall online traffic, the way that we've seen big dips in traffic from Etsy, Amazon, and eBay all have an identical traffic dip right now.
Yeah, that could be because but I don't know. I mean, Pinterest is one of those that just keeps growing year over year over year. So a lot of it is, and this is what I started looking at, is that what's making people gravitate to some posts and not to others. So it's not like I kept hearing boards are going away. Don't worry about your boards. Well, that can be furthest from the truth. Boards are very important. And I think people have got away from looking at their profiles as like their storefront. And that's exactly what you need to do. Because even though people aren't following boards and they're not following profiles like they used to on Pinterest, they're still going and looking at your overall profile and your overall boards, setup and stuff. And so you still need to have that clarity, and you need to have that trustworthiness that comes across to the customers. So I think that got lost somewhere over the last couple of years. People just like, oh, I'll just pin randomly, or I'll throw it all in one board, or, they stopped worrying about how their actual profiles looked. So that's extremely important
is having a niche still important for Pinterest? Because people debate that for Etsy, they debate it for Instagram, and I'm like one of those people that say no matter what it is, I don't care if it's your LinkedIn account. Like if you don't have a niche, then there's no keywords to represent what you are. But Pinterest is a little different because yes, we have our boards and we have the pins that we pin ourselves, but then we also have like repins in the equation. We have all of the different, the alt text and the titles and the descriptions for your pins and where your pins are linking to, and all of that to me is one big net of data. So to me personally, I would assume that just like any algorithm, the more that you can have that like represents a set of keywords that the algorithm's seeing over and over again, that it should help people who are interested in that thing see your pins. Is it similar to most algorithms?
Oh, exactly. Okay. I think it's even in a way, it's almost even more important because like I said, it is the more clear your profile, your boards, your pins are down to a specific niche, the more clear it is to Pinterest, the more you're going to be shown. So it is important, and I apologize if y'all hear my dogs barking in the background.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Something just got their attention and they just all barked and running outside. Sorry. Can you hear them?
Yeah, but it's fine. No, you're good. You're good. We all have pets.
Yeah, they were being so good. They were just laying in the floor in here listening to me, and then all of a sudden, one of them barked, and they all have to. I've got three. I've got my brother's dog and my two. But anyway, no, that clarity is extremely important. And that's one of the things I think people are missed too. And if you look at a lot of, I know when I was like setting everything up and I'm looking at different profiles, people they're like, you can't tell if they're a business or if it's personal or if it's because they're pinning everything to their board. And we all shop. I have a Pinterest account too. I've chosen to have a personal one and my business separate, but you can have them as one and just hide the boards that are your personal boards.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Because you don't want to confuse people. Just like when they come to your Etsy shop, if they're seeing a ton of stuff, they're confused what you sell. Pinterest is the exact same way. You get confused. You've got to have that clarity. And that's why when I was setting up these courses, one of my courses is a board course. And I was surprised at how, I want to say big, but I don't want to scare you. These are micro courses. So they're all like easily, but the board one got bigger than I thought it would. Because there's just so many things you need to make sure you have clear with your boards that people are skipping. And so that gives you an opportunity. If you can get your account set up well and get your boards flowing well and get that all down, that gives you an advantage to other people that are just pinning randomly and creating that lie.
It's like the lottery ticket logic that I talk to everybody about when it comes to Etsy, where I'm like, you might think, oh, I'm not going to worry about an about section. But when, if you're spending 12 hours on keyword research, but then you don't have an about section, and Etsy literally tells us that an about section is part of shop completion that contributes to your overall search ranking, then what's the point of doing 12 hours of keyword research if it's like someone's walking up to you with a handful of lottery tickets and saying, how many would you like to scratch off? You may scratch off as many as you'd like. And you say, I'll just take 2. Like, no, if you can have as many as are being offered to you, then take them all. And Pinterest, it sounds like, is exactly the same way. Like, if you have, for me personally, I want to know everything that can be optimized, because if you are competing against others who already know this stuff, like, why would you do less than they are? If you have like a set of instructions to follow and you know exactly what you should be doing, then to me, it's just second nature. Guys, by the way, we're trying to not be like super salesy, because you guys know that we're not like that here. And I'm not like an affiliate of Michelle or anything, but she is releasing really affordable and super digestible mini courses. And there is a link down below, and she did issue a coupon code for you guys. So if you guys want to check it out, how many are actually available on there? Like,
well, actually, there should have been 3. There's one where I lost my voice the other week. I started going back, and the two of the courses, my voice was cracking through a lot more than I thought so. So I'm re-recording those the first of the week. So by next Friday, those 3 courses will be there. And then I have 2 more that I plan to have out by the end of the month, by end of May. But what they are with their micro courses, each one has a specific goal, has one task, one goal that you're accomplishing. So it's something quick you can do. You know what you're accomplishing, and you can pick and choose what needs to be done, what you need help with. Right now, the setup course is what's available, the board course, and there's a workflow, learning how to batch your pins to make it less stressful. Everything about my courses, and that's why I love Pinterest, is about making marketing less stressful, making it more calm. But there, you can go ahead and pre-buy those 2 courses. I do have a bundle that I've put together of all 3 of the courses, and you do get the 25% off of that. The bundled courses normally it includes one live, like Q&A session, another one like this, where we'll set up and do one just for Pinterest, again, not through my channel. I don't have a YouTube channel. We're going to do it through a Zoom call. But if you purchase the bundle before next Thursday, you're going to get 2 of those sessions. You're going to get one in May and one in June. And it's an hour and a half or up to 2 hours. I'll give you of just me answering your questions.
And let me say, guys, I love Michelle so much. She's the sweetest human being ever. I'm telling you right now, what she's offering right now, assuming that these courses do well, won't be sustainable forever. So
no, I know that.
If ever there was a, I'm not trying to, I'm normally a really bad marketer, but in my mind, I'm thinking to myself that it's a great deal just because I know that in the future, you're probably not going to be able to offer big, long, like Zoom calls. That's the one thing I market with my program. I'm like, there is no way I'm sitting down and doing a Zoom call with everybody holding hands and singing Kumbaya. Like, I just can't. So if ever there was a time to maybe like take a peek at it, like, but
yeah, we're going to do it. The first one's going to be on May 26th. The second one's going to be on June 16th. Again, you'll get the replays. You know, if you've bought that bundle course, and you'll immediately get the other two courses when they release next Friday. But yeah, you get 25% off of it now through through midnight next Thursday. And it's easy. It's the code Starla. So very straightforward and easy.
I love how somebody's like, sponsor stream, sponsored. Okay, hey, first of all, if I wanted to do a sponsor stream and I wanted to get paid by Michelle, I would, but I'm not. And secondly, it would be illegal for me to come on here and say this is not a sponsor stream when I am actually being sponsored. She's literally doing this for the first time ever. And Michelle, honestly, I feel like we've been talking about that. Maybe people have missed it because they haven't been like around very, very long. But for everybody who has been, you know, kind of keeping up with this, Michelle was building these courses while she was in cancer recovery. And that's what I actually, when she said, like, it's about calming, like being calm and marketing more calmly. And I'm like, no kidding, because Michelle was literally like experiencing the most stressful thing in the world when she developed these courses. She called, when she and I talked, and I promise, guys, we will get back to questions right after this. But when Michelle first like messaged me and told me about her diagnosis, I was like, Michelle, you are way too calm about this. You know, like you are handling this way too well. Because her first thought is like, okay, how am I going to work? Like, how am I going to keep working?
Yeah, that's been the challenge, because my doctors laugh at me because I'm like, I need to be able to work this many hours, and they're like, no, you don't right now. So,
to be fair, I told Michelle not to work on my stuff, so she went and started making her own stuff to work on. So Kay had asked, do you have any tips for getting people to save your pins? I get clicks, but no saves.
The saves are more, that has to do a lot with those pin styles. We save things that really catch our attention. So that kind of goes into some of your pin designs. But again, Pinterest is one of those places, platforms, you don't worry about those saves. If they're clicking, are they clicking through? If they're clicking through, then you're getting the goal of what that pin should be. They're clicking through to your page. So maybe if they're clicking to your Etsy store, they may be hearting your item over on Etsy. So again, people don't save. And I'll be honest, I don't really know why it's changed, other than the fact that unless it's something with Gen Z, because Pinterest is largely I think it's 40-something% now of they've got over 600 million users, monthly users. I know, it's crazy. And
that's grows. More than most social media platforms, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't keep up, but I think it was 600, and they said that in Q1, they reported 631 million global users on a monthly basis. But 40-something% of that's Gen Z. So the save mentality may not be part of what Gen Z does. You know, they're like, right. No, let's find what we want, and then we go click on it and we go buy it. Or we heart it over on their, on the Etsy platform or the Amazon platform.
Well, and in my, Gen Z, they're smart. They're real smart. They're savvy when it comes to computers and tech. And in their mind, it might be I'm going to go favorite it on Etsy or follow it on Etsy and see if I can find a coupon, because they're also really thrifty. So the thought that maybe if I favorite, I'll get the coupon code sent to me. That makes sense. Or I'll save it over there so that when I'm more in a shopping mode, I'm ready to buy, or, when payday comes around, I know where it'll be. But, we talked about this last week as well. The average is 7 brand interactions. It takes an average of 7 brand interactions before someone who, sees your content for the first time actually decides to buy it. if they're already, if the algorithm has already kind of gotten you in tune with a specific artist that you follow, and this happens to me, if there's a creator that I look at their work a lot on Pinterest, I see more of their work on Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe one of those 7 brand interactions is Pinterest, or maybe it's they see a pin and it's, something like your Instagram reel. And then you've also linked your Instagram to that pin. Like you don't just have to make your objective immediately be the sale. And I think that that's something that a lot of people they think that money is the only metric. You can make more money on, a single customer by making sure that they are more vastly intertwined or more deeply intertwined with your process and who you are. So if it's they find you organically on Pinterest, and then maybe they want to learn more about you, so they're like, I wonder if she's got an Instagram, and then they go follow you there, and then they see more posts from you. Their first destination after finding you might not be the purchase, but after they've gotten those multiple brand interactions, or maybe they've commented on something that you've posted and you comment back, and they're like, wow, this seems like a really cool business owner. And they have all these positive interactions. Then when they're ready to buy, or when you release the product that they're like, oh, that's the one that I want. Like it's almost like I arrived here just to wait for my perfect item to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, they're more likely to not just buy once, but buy multiple items or come back to buy again and again, because you formed such a great connection with them. Whereas if you're just scrolling the internet and you scroll across something, well, maybe I'll buy one thing from this brand just to see. Like I'm somebody that if I'm kind of questionable about a brand, I'll buy one thing just to see just how is this as nice as I think it is. I do that a lot with chocolate brands, for example. Mark and I like to try crazy fancy chocolates, but I'm like, I'm just going to buy one just to make sure that this is what I think it is. Let's see. Here's another great question. If you have both Etsy and your own site, where would you focus the traffic from Pinterest? Would you do both equally because the same people do actually like to shop on Etsy? Or some people do like to shop on Etsy?
Yeah, I would do both. Now, of course, if you have your own website, you can go through the verified merchant and actually have it claimed, and you can do those rich shoppable pins. But you can also create pins that are on Etsy, that link back to the Etsy. So, I mean, yeah, and I would probably put that somewhere in your title of your board or your description of your board that these are found in my Etsy shop, but make sure it's very clear, because I've went to some profiles before that I can't really, they say they're an Etsy seller, but then it's linking somewhere else. It's not clear that they have both. So, that I have a choice. So just make sure you're very clear in your descriptions and everything that, you have both. And so, you want to offer both to whichever they feel comfortable shopping on.
Yeah, because some people do like to just shop on Etsy because they know that there's a level of protection there. They know that, the Etsy's got their back. If something goes wrong, they know that they have the ability to leave a public review, and that review, for the most part will be there. Whereas sometimes when I look at a personal website and I see that all the reviews are positive, I'm like, are they, curating these? You know what I mean? So yeah, that makes sense. And not to mention, I'm, of course, big on the Etsy algorithm. Having a little bit of both, it's nice to still kind of feed the Etsy machine, in my opinion. I think that even if you're paying a little bit in the fees and things that Etsy charges per sale, I like getting some orders over to Etsy just because it helps to build up those listing quality scores. So yes, realistically, it's better to build your own website, but if you can still make some of those pins direct to Etsy so that you can just at least get a little bit of that algorithmic candy, I like the idea of spreading it out. And then maybe, as your Etsy shop becomes less important, maybe when your website starts making up a bigger majority of your sales and you have some more authority and better trust signals, then maybe you cut back a little bit and maybe you only send 25% of your traffic to Etsy. But I wouldn't do that until my brand is so big that it stands on its own, in search rankings on Google, personally. Let's see. When you create a pin, what is a suggested strategy for choosing the tagged topics tags? I am about to show my not knowing anything because I didn't know that was a thing.
Again, that's one of those things you can only access if you pin through Pinterest. And I don't. I know you use Metrical. Metrical keeps saying they actually had a webinar with Pinterest, and they said they're working on trying to get those tag topics over there. But the other one, and I'm having my brain fog now. But the other big site that works with Pinterest, they have added that feature. You can choose the categories through their app. But
is it later?
No, not later. What's the one that's just basically Pinterest?
Tailwind.
Thank you. Tailwind. You can select the categories through Tailwind.
Okay.
But again, I like using Pinterest free because you make sure you have everything. But those categories now, they're very, if you notice, they're very limited. It's kind of, and my feeling is Pinterest is still kind of like trying them out. They're kind of learning. So there are some out there. There actually is one that is an Etsy, I think it's Etsy seller. I should have looked these up. I'm sorry. I do know these, but there is one that's Etsy. There's one that's e-commerce. There's one that's, I know there's an Amazon one. So I usually grab like those, the Etsy one and the e-commerce. Now, as far as products, I think there is home decor, so there's not a lot of your products, but keep watching them, keep checking them because they keep adding more and more. And all it is one more chance to add a keyword.
Sure.
So it doesn't hurt to do them. Right now they are probably the lowest priority as far as the algorithm. But again, it's one more chance to get a keyword if it happens to be there. And don't get frustrated if you sell pottery and you don't see pottery as a keyword. That just means that there's not been they've not added it yet. But again, there is the Etsy, there is the Amazon, the eBay, there is e-commerce, there is some of the more general like home decor. So like pottery could go into home decor. So think broader with those categories. But definitely, I think it's 5 you can add now. I think it's 5. And I'll be honest, that's bad. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's 5. But anyway, select them, but you don't have to do all 5. It was 3, but I think it went up to 5. But yeah, select them if you can find them, but don't pick ones that have nothing to do with yours just to try to get another. Just like on Etsy, you don't want to use a word that has nothing to do with what you sell.
So it would be better to leave some blank if you genuinely can't. Okay. Exactly. That makes sense.
Don't think that you have to select them all, but fine. Like I said, do grab some of the general ones like an e-commerce seller. Like I said, there's, I think there's a creative one too. Last time I checked, I'm going to make myself a note. I've been working on these courses and I've not went back to check on the keywords because they do change pretty regularly.
I didn't even know it was a thing until it was, because I don't pin directly from Pinterest. I mean, I use Metricool for everything. And honestly, because I'm speaking as a content creator. So obviously, with a product-based business, it's a little different. As a content creator, like I'm marketing my face at this point and trying to get people to go watch videos and claim freebies and things. So, but for you guys, obviously it's definitely going to matter making sure that you're getting any possible area where keywords can go in there. Michelle, we have a question from Michelle, and she said, I started a Pinterest account over 10 years ago and let it die. Do I close and start a new one or try to clean it up?
Unless it's like a lot that you need to clean up, I would just keep your current one and do some cleanup. Now, if you have you've totally changed what you sell or something like that, then I would probably close it and start a fresh one. Now, Keep in mind, you can only have one Pinterest account per email address. You can have as many Pinterest accounts as you want, but you can only have one for each email address. So if that's on your business email address, you would have to actually close the account completely before you can open another one. But again, if it's just going to require a little, maybe deleting a board or renaming some boards or something, then I would keep the one you already have and do some cleanup with it.
Yeah, and Fatty Pancake asked almost an identical question, and I would assume that it's like, how much have you muddied the water in the past with other keywords that have nothing to do with what you want to be known for?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah. And I feel the same way, not about Etsy because Etsy's very forgiving, but about Instagram. If you've been posting on Instagram for 12 years and then decide to pivot to a business account, but you've got pictures of your kids' like soccer team and what you ate for dinner and your pets, then it's going to be, there's a lot of keyword data there that probably doesn't have anything to do with your business. So that makes sense. Let's see. Oh, somebody had said that they missed Mark's sense of humor the last couple weeks. To be fair, he's right upstairs. I just feel like it's hard to get two people and screen like a guest on the screen at the same time. Let's see. How many pins per day or week are needed for a minimum viable strategy to drive sales on Etsy?
My thing again, Pinterest should not stress you out. So, and that's one of the parts of that workflow course is finding your lane, is what works for you. So if you are extremely busy, start with 1 pin a week. But the thing is consistency. Once you start that, always do that 1 pin a week and always do it the same day. So if you're always going to do a Monday post, always have a Monday pin. Now, my goal, what I really like people to start with is 1 a day. And remember, Pinterest is not like Instagram and all these others. It's really a 7-day a week kind of process. But if you get into this batching, you can quickly create 7 pins in, very like 20 minutes or, or 30 minutes or less and schedule them out for the whole week. So, but if you only have time to create 1 pin a week, do that 1 pin a week. Get started. That's the most important thing is to get started and stay consistent. Always pin on Monday. Times are not, you see where they say, this time. I haven't found times have a whole lot of effect on when you pin on Pinterest because they look on Pinterest at all different times. And that's the thing with Pinterest is it's evergreen. It doesn't disappear. It's not like Instagram where it's only going to be shown for 24 hours or, a reel or something. It's only going to be there for 24 hours. That pin lives for years. There are pins that people have pinned like 10 years ago that they still get traffic off of.
My first business, Art by Starla, when did I quit doing that? During COVID, like 2019.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I still pop into that account because I have some viral pins over there just because my photos were so good. It is crazy. I still have pins over there that are just constantly circulating. And I get messages on that Etsy account where people constantly like, I saw you on Pinterest. Like, when are you going to be back up and running? And I'm like, guys, I've clearly been gone since 2019. Like, but that's just to show like what you put on Pinterest lives on.
Yeah. And that's one thing you've got to remember is, especially if you're like a vintage or one of a kind seller, is pinning more to your categories, to your groups, or to your store, because if you're only selling one, that link then is broken. But it can still work very much. A lot of people, I've heard people say, oh, if you sell one of a kind, you can't do Pinterest. Yes, you can. You just got to look at it a little bit differently and think broader, what's going to be around a year from now or 2 years from now. And it's going to be that category or your shop in general instead of that one specific pin.
Yeah. Or even an email list. If you're a really like exclusive small batch, like made to order brand, and you make a nice landing page for your email list with like, limited releases, like get notified when, if you like products like these, and then you can kind of build up your email list. A lot of the Pinterest pins that I click on lead to email lists, I've noticed.
And that's the one thing is people think that they used to think it all had to go to blogs. And I actually went through courses where it tells you have to have a blog to succeed on Pinterest, and it has to go to a blog. That's not true. Your pins can go anywhere. They can build up your Instagram. They can build up your YouTube channel, your email list. You can have them to your shop. You can have them to a blog. So you can really have them go anywhere as long as it's a good link. Now, that is one of the things with Pinterest. They want to make sure you're posting things with valid links. So you don't want to be something that's going to break or you're going to delete or it's going to go away. But you can have it go anywhere. And it's a great place to build up your email list.
Here's a really good one that I've never even considered. What's the best ratio for my pins versus repins? And we had a similar question where someone had said, is it even worth it to repin content, or should I only be creating fresh pins of my own stuff?
Yeah, and that's one of the myths that's been around, because I used to hear the myth it should be 20% yours and 80% other pins. No. Why do you want to help other people? I mean,
right.
Really,
And that's my thought.
yeah, why do you want to help other people? There is no like perfect ratio, but my instruction is don't pin competing pins. Don't do products. Find complementing. Like if you sell baby products, let's say you sell, crocheted baby, outfits, and maybe you find a blog about the best way to wash crocheted outfits. Okay, that complements it. That helps your customers, your shoppers. But don't post another crochet, or don't post even post the pattern. If you're selling it, you don't want to post a link to a free pattern to do it yourself. I mean, so
right.
So, and repinning has gone away, really, as far as like you don't repin your own. So don't repin your own unless you just have like this one super viral pin that's really going. You might want to try and put it on a different board. My thing is never pin a pin to more than 3 boards tops, and I usually just try 2 boards. So you can post it to multiple boards, but the thing is, you can take one pin and make you can have pins go to the same URL, the same website address, and create it 10 different ways. And so do it that way instead of posting the exact same pin, because Pinterest rewards fresh content. They want that fresh content, and fresh content is a new picture or, a different wording on it or different examples. So let's say you have a planner, like you have for a plant, you can post that to the same exact product, but show it hanging in a window, show it sitting on a desk, have different pictures of it, and it can go to that same address. But again, you want to post mostly your stuff and find complementing pins. Now, in the very beginning, when you set up a board, you usually grab, I suggest grabbing 3 to 5 pins to kind of show Pinterest, get them familiar with what that board's going to be about. But again, try to find that complementing ones, not your competing ones.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have a lot of people asking about where the link is. It's in the video description, but if you're on mobile, I think the button says, hold on, let me pull it up.
Well, you look at it, it's real straight. It's called Pin to Grow is the name of the business. So it's PINTOGROW, pintogrow.com.
Oh, okay. So they can just go to the link directly, and then the discount code is just Starla, right?
It's just Starla.
Yeah, you guys, all you got to do is get rid of the live chat, I think. I think you just exit out, and then there's they do make it hard, don't they?
Yeah, on mobile they make it kind of hard to find, especially when you're live.
There's a more button underneath the title, and then it shows. Okay. Yeah, and then for your coupon code, it's just my name, Starla. Let's see. Ooh, this was a good one. And I actually kind of had the same question because you had talked about the logo on pins. When putting a text logo on the pin image, should I put my shop name or the entire URL with Etsy.com / shop name?
I probably wouldn't put your whole Etsy shop because that's going to get a little wordy. Now, if you have your own website, let's say I'm going to use your example, starla.com, that you can easily put on there, that's different. You're definitely going to have that address. Of course, the link in the description, as part of the description, that's one of the fields you fill out is the link. So you'll have the link there. And that's the thing too. They don't have to click on the actual link. They can click on the picture. When they click on the picture, it takes them to the link. Once they have the pin open, it'll take them to that link too. But yeah, definitely they'll have your, and don't make it huge. I mean, don't make it like this huge logo. I'm talking about like a little, down, and make sure you're avoiding the corners where Pinterest puts their own stuff. You don't want to have that underneath the, where it's going to have the click now or the pin, little pin symbol or something. But what that logo does is it helps people start recognizing. Just like in Etsy, you want that branding. You want that same branding to come over to Pinterest.
Right.
Immediately recognize, because I can scroll through Pinterest, and as soon as I see certain pins, I know exactly what brand it is. I know who it is because I've looked at their pins before, and it's the same style and the same kind of coloring and their logos on it. Now, don't do the the watermarks. Don't do the watermarks.
Like real big over the product, covering it up, taking away. You mean like little in the corner, out of the way, not distorting or distracting from the image. And I know everybody's going to say like, but what if someone steals my photos? Sweetheart, they're going to steal your photos anyway. AI is going to, I can literally, even before AI was a thing to the extent that it was now, there were still apps that you could go in and save a photo and then tap the watermark or logo, and it just gets rid of it. There is no protection for. I think the only exception is if you do like beautiful art or like a painting or something, and you're sharing it. I dare say that in that case, I might try to interweave a watermark across the image very lightly, just so I'm not saying that it's going to protect it, but you want to make it a little bit harder. But if you're selling jewelry or something like that, thieves are gonna thief.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a part of it. And I'll be honest, I tend not to worry about it. I'm like, sadly enough, it's gonna happen. I spend more of my time worrying about my business, my products, my photos, and I do the best I can. And I'm, that customer service, that, all that caring that you put into it with your customers, that's going to, in the long run, outweigh someone that stole your photo and is trying to sell a whole bunch of stuff really cheaply, really fast.
Yeah. Linda had a great question. So let's assume that we're talking about, making videos, and maybe it's just like a busy week, or maybe you're not tech savvy, or maybe, I don't know, your phone died and you can't record a video, but you want to add videos into your strategy. Could you realistically do, like with Canva, a slideshow video? And honestly, I think that my one gripe is that creators who do this, but then they make the slides just go too slow. And that's my only gripe, is that I think I'm looking at a picture and then they give it to me for like 10 seconds before the next picture shows.
Yeah, that's finding that long enough that people can read if there's any text, but not so long you get them bored or they, click away, or it's finding that nice little, and usually it's like 3 to 5 seconds tops. Usually more like that 3 second per slide. But yeah, you can do a slideshow in Canva. You can, and that's the thing with Etsy. If you created product photos or product videos, you can use those, just reshape them to make sure they're fitting into, you can do a square on Pinterest, but that is like old style. Okay. Yeah. To me, it really stands out. And that's the thing with the ones that are coming across a lot of times from Amazon and eBay and stuff like that. There, you'll see them as squares. But so always try to at least do that 1,000 by 1,500,
because it takes up more space.
Mm-hmm,
like
exactly.
you want to take up as much space as possible on this screen, and longer in that case is going to be so much better.
Exactly.
Heather said, what would you suggest for someone who has no idea what they're doing on Pinterest? What needs to be done / set up first? And what is your step-by-step strategy or reoccurring tasks? Heather, you kind of just asked for Michelle's courses, which are linked down below. But how about this? I'm going to reframe the question a little bit, because, I'm assuming that in the 30 minutes we have left, Michelle can't go over like a full everything you need to do. But let's say that today someone is interested, they're feeling inspired by this live stream, and they want to start a Pinterest account today. They arrive on Pinterest.com and they're being asked, what kind of account do you need to create? What's like their first step to get through tonight of starting up?
Well, you definitely want a business account. And if you have a personal, you can switch it to Pinterest. You can switch it to business. Boy, I'm getting tongue tied again. Can switch it to business. But if you want easy to get started, if you'll go to the website, and on the front page of my website, I have a free, it's best practices, but it's got kind of a checklist within it, one of the pages of getting started. And it's, making sure, deciding on your fonts, deciding on, what keywords you want Pinterest to know you for, and having that business account, getting your name in there, getting a banner set up, all that same things you do when you initially set up any profile on any different platform. So if you just get that started and set up, my thing is always set up a minimum of 3 boards. Don't try to do 50. Don't try to do 100. Set up 3 boards that have something to do with you, and you're wanting to make sure you're answering who you are, what you sell, who your customers are. Those are your 3 biggest questions you need to make sure that your profile, your banner, those first 3 boards are answering for anybody that comes to your profile.
And that's going to be different depending on who you are. I think about sellers like Amber Marie, who does like pet portraits, and if I were her, I might do a board of, work in progress type things that lead back to how to get a custom portrait done by her. And then I might do a board on, different dog breeds that are available to try to connect to people who are looking on Pinterest for their specific dog breed. And then maybe the 3rd board I would do, I don't even know. I'm trying to think like what would be a good one for Amber. Maybe some more like.
She could have ways to display.
Sure. Yeah, like different ways to show off.
Yeah. Do you put them in frames? Do you do a collage? Do you do, how do you display these in your home?
Yeah. Or like one of the little like displays that has like your dog's portrait and then a place to hang the leash and all the things.
Exactly.
That's smart.
That would come into your complimenting pins, like we were talking about earlier. Maybe someone that makes these frames that go along that are perfect for showcasing her product.
And that might be a great collaboration opportunity to drop a message to one of those creators and say like, hey, I'm working on a collaborative board. Would you like to work together? There's all kinds of ways that you can open the doors of communication with other creators. Because the worst they're going to say is, I don't really have time. It's like, okay, fine. I'm going to pin your stuff anyway because I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a lot of questions that are kind of around the same vein. So if your question doesn't get answered, like we've got people asking about like specific days of the week, optimal number of times to pin. I think that we've kind of covered stuff like that. So I'm really trying to hit some of the more specific ones. Let's see. Somebody did say, I thought you couldn't set up a business account unless you have your own website to make ads, not just an Etsy shop.
No, you just cannot put that you're an online merchant. If you're you select the option that you're an online retailer, online merchant, you have to put in a website. But again, you can put in your Etsy shop. So it's just you can't claim it as a verified merchant, but you can still put that in as your main website for your profile. So, but no, you don't have to even have a website to do a business account, but to select the option, because when you're setting up your business account, one of the pages is what kind of business are you? And if you select online merchant, you have to enter a website. But for all the other types, like if you're an educator, if you're an influencer, all these different, if you're a blogger, all that, you don't have to actually put it on a website.
Okay. This was actually a really great question, especially for people who are new, just starting out, trying to find ideas for their board titles. Would you name boards like the sections in Etsy? So if you make, we'll say bookish products like us, would we have boards for, our t-shirts and boards for our blankets? Or would it be better to say more in depth, like for us, would it be boards for different book series, for example?
That's an awesome way to do it. That's a great question. Because basically that's what I say is that think of your boards like your Etsy categories.
Oh, okay.
But again, you don't only have to have one. because like we were showing with Amber Marie, you might have one that is like how to get a custom portrait, and then another one, the different dogs that are available, and then another one of how to display it. Well, those all go back to the same product. But think of it as your cat. That's your first way to look at it. What products do I sell? And when you start with those first 3 boards, think about what's your most popular product and do that first. But no, it's great. The big thing is don't get fancy with your titles. Don't get cutesy. Don't do weird spellings. Don't do generalized ones either. You know, the things I love or the things you'll love. That tells nobody anything. So
Right.
you want to make sure, think of it how someone would search your product. Dog portraits or, my, fur baby dog portrait, words that people are going to actually search by. So you want to actually name your boards based that way of how they're going to search. But yeah, that's a great place to start is with your categories that you have on Pinterest or have on Etsy. Sorry.
And this was kind of, I assume that this was the part of the stream where we were talking about where to direct your traffic from Pinterest to Etsy or a website. But somebody asked a great question. How do you let people know that you have both an Etsy and a website in the description of every pin or somewhere else? I don't think you need to let them know, right? It's just a link that you attach to the pin.
Well, I would put it somewhere in your overall profile description.
Okay.
In your profile description, you have 500 characters. The first 100 is about all that shows like on mobile and stuff. But, you've got 500 characters. So mention, I'm an Etsy seller and I have my own shop, somewhere word that. So that way, it's basically you're saying you have 2 options, whichever you feel most comfortable. I don't think you need to put it on your pins. You just will direct a pin either to the Etsy shop or the website. But I would mention it somewhere in your actual profile description.
Yeah, like your bio that you're filling out when you fill out your account.
Yes.
Because, I mean, your bio, like your actual, when you land on someone's Pinterest account, you've got like a cover photo now, you've got a bio, you've got a little profile picture. I mean, it's kind of like any other social media account in terms of like the things that you can put on it.
Exactly.
Can you repin too much on your account? Will that kill the traffic to my pins? Like if you're just repinning a bunch of stuff that from others?
No, it won't. As long as those repins. I mean, again, my thing is this Pinterest account is to help you, so I wouldn't be pinning a whole bunch of everybody else's stuff personally.
Right.
But as long as they have to do the relevance. Okay, Pinterest is very big on clarity and they're very big on relevance. So relevant, if it relates to what you sell, what that board's about, what your profile's about, then it's not going to hurt you. It's just going to strengthen that signal to Pinterest. This is what your account's about, which then does help your pins. But again, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time repinning a bunch of other people's stuff. I mean, it's great to have some complimenting things over there, but again, this board's to help you. But I also wouldn't be posting all just your products. Product. I mean, show it some lifestyle, show you how you make it, show how you clean it, how you take care of it, show some of that complimentary stuff that you can actually create to show, because you don't want to, again, you're building a relationship. You're wanting these customers to be long-term. You don't want to just sell to them. But again, they're there to buy. So you want to make sure you have that information there. So you can create a pin that's about how to take care of your product and have it still linked over to the product to buy it. It's just the pin is about how to take care of it.
And this is like content that most people already have in some way, shape, or form. You might need to resize it and play around with it. But if you've got a Canva account, you can resize things with a single click. And there's all kinds of templates and things that you can use. Even with a free Canva account, you can use templates and drag and drop your own photos and videos into and save a lot of time. We've got an ongoing conversation about group boards in the chat, with the primary question being, is it worth it? I feel like my products get lost in them, so I prefer building my own world and my profile. A lot of people saying, I don't think group boards are even popular anymore. What's this? I remember when they were all the rage.
They were the rage, and they got out of hand, and they got to where they don't. Like you said, you get lost.
Yeah.
Group boards do still exist. If it's somewhere that is truly a group board that's going to complement your product, and there's good set rules that everybody, you know, only post X number of pins a week. You've got to post 2 pins to this a week. And you're seeing that everybody's participating, everybody's posting. And the whole thing is too, you want people to, you know, to repin their stuff, even if it's to like private boards or their personal boards. But yeah, group boards are not what they used to be. I'll be honest, I have actually been considering the ideal as part of this course to offer, you know, where I create group boards based on categories. But even that, I'm like trying to figure out if I'm really is it going to be worth it or not? So it's just, yeah, it's like you said, you get lost. It's almost like the old way of like, you know, you like mine, I like yours, da 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 da, and then nobody's doing anything to help you out, and you're getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just too much.
Yeah. And at the most, 2 group boards. I mean, if you're going to be a part of them, but be very picky about the ones you pick. There are some good ones still out there, but be very picky. Make sure there's a good moderator, there's good rules, everybody's participating, and you know that it complements what you sell or what you do.
Yeah, it's similar to when I created a Facebook group, and some of you are still in it and some of you still post in it, but we had a Facebook group a couple years ago for like alpha products, where I'm like, you know, everybody can post their products. There's nobody in there shopping. It just turned into an echo chamber of sellers posting their products. And I'm like, okay, well, this went as to be expected. So as usual, it's better to not try to game something. It's better to try to meet people organically who are scrolling because they want to be there, and not try to create a catalog of items. Cindy asked, do we need to create ads on Pinterest if we want to drive traffic and sales?
Ads are not a requirement. I think of any platform, though, Pinterest ads work better. As far as if you read the reports and how much, especially for US is like one of the largest markets where shoppable ads are working. But again, don't rush into it. Don't get your board set up, get your account, get that signal straight, don't rush into the day one doing your ads. I'm going to be adding an ad course, but I'm still doing some testing. I've got a couple of accounts that I just play around with and test with. And so I'm wanting some more of my own personal data about ads before I teach it to you all. So
play with mine.
Okay, I'll play with you instead.
Mine needs help. Mine is sad.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, no, ads, I will say, out of every I like Pinterest ads better than I do meta ads and everything. And I think they have more. The only problem, though, if you will notice right now, ads are starting to overrun Pinterest a little bit. So that's why I'm not sure how that's going to play out. That's why I'm kind of waiting for it's going to be one of my courses I create later in the year, because this year I've noticed ads are really starting to, I mean, if you search something, it's like a lot of ads. But I will say I like that Pinterest mixed their ads in. They're not like all ads first or everything. They're all kind of just mixed in together. But with Amazon and Etsy and eBay and Poshmark and all those, and Redbubble and all of them having claimed their own merchant accounts, they're running ads. And so those are getting to be, you're seeing a lot of those.
Yeah. And somebody said that it's expensive because you are up against big retailers as well.
Yeah. So that's why, like I said, my whole thing's about doing things that don't stress you out. So that's why I'm trying to find the non-stressful path for ads.
Yeah. Can you go back in and edit the links on your pins when you're out of stock and you want to change it maybe to a link to a category or a shop instead of an individual product?
No, once the pin, you can't edit the link. Now, I'm
Okay.
hoping they change that at some time, but you can edit the link.
Oh.
So that's why I'm saying maybe do a category, or if you want it to go to a specific one, another suggestion is to put, a comment in the description. If this item is out of stock, check out this category for more items like this. And so you can add that additional link in your description so that way they can click on it if they open. Because I will say, I think descriptions are read more in Pinterest than they are in other platforms. Like I don't always read Facebook or Instagram or all those, I'm looking at the scrolling quickly, where Pinterest people are more intent. So if they see something that catches their eye, they're going to click on it. They're going to read the description. So that's another opportunity, is to put, if this item's out of stock, try the category and put that additional link in there.
Right. I mean, I think that the objective is just to make sure that they are, if it were me and I knew that I had products that were that limited and that low stock, I would try to get them as close to that product as possible. Now, if you have like 1,000 listings, it's a little bit different. But if you are selling a dog t-shirt and you've only got 5 dog t-shirts, I would just link the shop section, because odds are if that product's available, they're going to click it and they're going to see there's the exact thing that I want. Unless, like I said, you have 1,000 products and you have 1,000 dog t-shirts, and then they're probably going to get a little frustrated if they click it and can't find what they're looking for.
Well, one thing you've got to remember too, if people have saved your pins, if you make a change to it, it doesn't change their saved one. That's the same thing. Like if you go in and try to delete a pin, it deletes it on your board, but anybody else that's saved it on their boards, it's still there.
Oh.
So that's the thing, is you can't, if you alter it, you're only altering yours. It could be out there 100 more times. You don't know who saved it. And so that's one of the downsides to, that's why I'm saying be more careful, especially if you low quantities, one of a kind, vintage sellers, those type of sellers, is having that category, because again, you can go, even if you could alter it, you don't alter all the others.
Yeah. We've had a lot of questions that are kind of asking the same thing. And it's a lot of people who had a Pinterest account. Ruth said years ago, I got a decent amount of traffic to my Etsy shop, but it died. I renewed my efforts last year, but I can't seem to get traction. What's my best strategy? I assume you mean like using Pinterest to get people to your Etsy shop. So let's say that somebody had a great strategy and then they just kind of fell off the wagon with it. Like if they were going to get started, is it best to just start? Like, are you good to, as long as your content is in the same vein and it's the same business, like you can just kind of get going again?
Yep. Just get started and get that consistency. Because like I said, Pinterest rewards consistency. So if you're only pinning once in the blue moon, then that's going to put you lower down. Even if you have great keywords, that's going to be, put you lower down in the search because you're not consistent. But if you're pinning, that's why I'm saying, even if you pin once a week, make sure you're always pinning on the same day. So that way that's building up that consistency. That's a signal to Pinterest that you're serious. That's what they're looking for. They want people on their platform, businesses on their platform that are serious about their platform and are valid businesses selling items. They want sellers. Unlike, necessarily some of the other platforms, Pinterest wants businesses on their site. Because, like I said, they encourage you. They want people to go off site and shop. They know that's what it's part of their platform. So they want businesses, but they want a business that's going to be consistent, that's going to keep showing up and offering that fresh content all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to social media, YouTube's the same way. If you guys notice, no matter what, hell or high water, I post every single Tuesday at 12:15 p.m. and I'm here every single Friday at noon. And we just, if I were to stop, that would be telling the algorithm that I'm being inconsistent. Somebody had actually said, what about secret boards? Does what you pin on this affect your algorithm? Or I assume, it's not your algorithm, but does it affect how the algorithm views your profile? Are those secret boards actually secret, as in the algorithm isn't going to get them confused with your stuff?
It's my understanding, no.
Okay.
That if you have it secret, they're figuring that it's like a business shopping personally. Again, though, I choose to keep my boards separate because I was finding myself accidentally not making something secret on my business profile. And then, so I choose to have a personal board that I log into, and I have a business board. But no, it's my understanding if you make a board secret, that's you telling Pinterest you don't want this to be considered as part of your account.
Okay. And Miranda had asked, how often do you create new boards?
Again, I start with the 3 boards, get a good feeling on it, get to where you're posting to those 3 boards consistently. Then if you feel comfortable, then maybe add a couple more boards. There is no formula for how many boards to have, how many, how often you can do it. I'm drawing a blank right now, but it's something like 5,000 boards you can have or something. It's like an outrageous number. My thing is when you start going over 50, it's hard to support. It's hard to, you want to make sure that you're posting to that board consistently, that you're at least getting 3 to 5 pins to it every month, that it's always getting fresh content. You don't want a board that's just sitting there with no pins or pins from 5 years ago. You want these boards to mean something to yours. So don't boards are great opportunities to, yes, get different keywords out there. But again, don't overwhelm yourself with boards that you have to keep up with. Usually once you get a business going, and most your like Etsy style size business and stuff, somewhere between 10 to 20 boards is probably where you're going to end up. But again, don't rush to get there day one. Don't rush to even get there, month one, or start with those 3. Once you feel comfortable, maybe add another 1 or 2. If you have ideas for boards that you might want to do down the road, that's another way you can use a secret board. If there's a board that you think, okay, I want to create for this, but I'm not ready to start pinning to it, create it, make it secret. That way it's there. And when you're ready, you just have to make it active again and you can start pinning to it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like make your boards part of your strategy, but not part of your schedule. It's not like every third Monday of the month, make a new board. Rita asked, I changed my Etsy shop name. How do I share this on Pinterest? Well, thankfully, when you change your Etsy shop name and your URL changes, your past URL now redirects to the new URL. Mm-hmm. I mean, Pinterest you got to think it's evergreen. By the time, I don't think that you need to just make a pin that says like, I changed my business name today. It's because it's evergreen, and a month from now, that's not really gonna matter. I would be more focused around like, I released a new product today, as opposed to I changed my business name.
Yeah. And be sure, like Starla said, your old URLs are going to repoint to the newer URL. Etsy takes care of that, but make sure you update your Pinterest name to reflect your new shop name. You may be updating your banner or something like that, but no, you don't need a pin to like announce that you've changed.
Okay. And then, Christina Nicole gave us a really good question. If they have a .com that they redirect to an Etsy shop, can you claim your shop that way, where you're claiming that .com, but then the .com redirects over? Ooh, that's like cheating the system.
Well, they're actually, and I'm testing this out right now. That's funny she asked that. And I don't know if I've told her I'm testing this. So I may have told her that maybe why she's asking it. If you just have it redirect, no, you can't claim because there's nothing on that site. But there is kind of a cheat workaround where you like post your products, but when you post your products on the website, they actually redirect to Etsy, and then you can claim them because you actually have products on that site. Like I said, I'm testing this to see how this works, but just having a .com that redirects, no, you can't claim it because there's nothing on it. There's no products on it.
Okay.
So she's almost there. There is a cheat, but I'm not sure how well it works yet.
Okay. She's working around the constraints that Pinterest has laid out for us. Oh, what's the difference between posting a pin from the business hub and then click on add a new pin and then adding a new pin without entering the business hub? So like you can create pins when you're in the business hub, but then when you're on your normal profile, you can always also create a pin. Isn't it the same or is it
No,
different?
the ones that you create within the business hub can be used for ads, is what it is. You're creating pins that you might use as ads. And that's what
Okay.
but they post to your site just the same way.
So if you're not planning on doing ads, it doesn't matter?
No.
Okay. Okay.
That's how you do the carousels. So
okay. Oh, this is a good Anastasia had asked, so we should create a pin from someone else's website to our board with a link to that external site. Is that legal? It's more about repinning when you see a pin from someone else. I mean, could you technically make a fresh pin?
I mean, Pinterest has an app that allows you to pin from other websites if you have that, or a lot of people have their websites set up with the Pinterest added to their website that people can just click on it and pin it. So no, that's a great, like I said, if you see a blog or if you see a complimenting product, back to, maybe the baby clothes, but maybe you don't do socks and someone crochets or booties, so you might share their product because it complements your product. I'm on a crochet kick, and I was when I was doing these courses too. You'll notice when I record the videos, I don't know why I crochet, and I haven't been able to in the last couple of years because I just can't seem to find time. So I think that's why it's on my mind. But no, yeah, you can pin from other people's sites. Again, make sure it's going back to a valid link. Make sure it has to do with the board you're pinning it to. Make sure it complements your business. But yeah, you can pin from other websites when you find an interesting product or item that, or article that goes along with your products.
It's definitely legal because you're giving them free traffic. Like, who wouldn't love that?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to get upset about that. Here's an interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Let me add.
Oh, you're good.
Every so often, I will get to where I'll get a notice from Pinterest that a pin has been removed from my account.
Yeah,
and that is someone has complained that you've repinned something. I always find it odd when people complain, but that's fine. I mean, it doesn't penalize you. Pinterest realizes that they want you looking for stuff to pin to their site. So don't freak out if you get a message from Pinterest saying this pin's been removed from your account. It just means the person doesn't want it on Pinterest for some reason.
Interesting. So, I do get those because I pin a lot of in my private boards, I pin a lot of fan art and things like that. So I'm assuming that it's people who have just decided to retract, things that they've pinned in the past. So this was somebody had asked about your course, and they said that if they already have a business account that they've been struggling with on Pinterest, should they clean it up first before they join your program, or would it be better to join your program and get help polishing by using your program?
Yeah, actually, that's what the first course, the setup course, it works whether you're setting up from scratch or if you're starting over and cleaning up and polishing. It's still the same principles applied to either one. So that first setup, I think it's set up Pinterest the right way. See, it's bad. I can't remember my own course names, but anyway, it goes through those same steps that you should follow and have on your account. Again, whether it's a current account, whether it's a brand new account, you're starting from scratch. It applies to both. So it'll benefit you both ways.
Yeah, Margie had said, do you offer a Pinterest for dummies type of lesson? I feel like I need that because I'm learning all kinds of stuff today.
Yeah. I try to keep everything very, like I said, I mean, I'm just searching, like Starla said, my life has been chaos the last 6 months. So I am searching for that calming for me. So I want to offer that calming for you all, that, that non-stressful. So I try to teach everything very straightforward, very plain language, very, I give a lot of examples because I want a lot of examples. So I offer a lot of examples with everything that, I discuss. And yeah, I want it. So it's not for dummies, but it's very straightforward. I think that that anybody can, that's my goal, that anybody can learn from it. So,
I mean, honestly, guys, if you already digest my content, there is a very high likelihood that you've digested something that Michelle has created. Because guess what? Michelle creates things that I present sometimes. Like the Pinterest video from a couple weeks ago. That was Michelle's material. Like that was Michelle's material that she gave to me so that I could kind of warm you guys up to knowing who Michelle was and, you know, pique some interest in Pinterest. So yeah, odds are that if you like my content, you'll probably like Michelle's because we teach very similarly. Ooh, I don't know the answer to this. What's the difference between a promoted pin and a Pinterest ad?
they don't I think promoted pins, have they not gone away?
I thought they had. Can you?
Yeah, they've gone away. That's what I was saying. Now they still have what they call rich, and maybe that's what you're thinking of. You're thinking of
A rich pin?
pins. Yeah, and what rich pins are when you're a verified merchant, you've claimed your site, that pin is shoppable. It has all the information, it has the pricing, it takes you straight to purchase, you know, it's a shoppable pin. And that's a rich pin. And I think that's what you're confusing. So those are done automatically if you're a verified merchant and you've connected your product catalog to Pinterest. Whereas an ad, you've actually went in and you've paid Pinterest to promote it based on, you know, different factors. So that's the difference. Promoted is, again, and you're going to see those from Etsy and Amazon and all of them. They're promoted pins. So if it doesn't say ad on it, because it says ad on it when it's an ad, that's a promoted pin. Or what you're calling promoted pin is now what they call rich pins.
Yeah. Okay. So. We are at the 1:30 mark. What I want to do is I have I have two more questions that I think are really interesting that I want to grab. After that, since we're at the 1:30 mark, if you guys have a quick question just about Michelle's courses, just to make sure that she's able to answer those, please put those in the chat. But I think we'll stop accepting like the general questions just because we're technically supposed to stop right now. But I do want to grab two really fantastic questions. Both are from, let's see, Rosaline. Feel free to yell at me if I pronounced your name wrong. But I just joined, and I don't know if someone already asked if you suggest to use a software that will automatically post pins and schedule it for months in advance. So if you need to schedule, what are your favorite methods to do so right now?
Again, I use Pinterest's own in-app product. You can pin out, like I said, I think it's up to 2 years now you can schedule.
Wow.
You can schedule different times. You can do everything. I use it so that way you have the categories, you have the alt text, because there's a lot of great products out there, but you can't always, like Starla pointed out with Metrical, you can't do the categories. Tailwind is the most thorough as far as giving you all those categories. And of course, Tailwind allows you to easily post it to 2 different boards at the same time. So that is a benefit over Tailwind. You can post it, you can put one pin and say, okay, post it to these 2 boards and spread it out 7 days between the 2 boards. So that's a benefit you do have with Tailwind. Like I said, there's lots of different apps out there, and I have no complaints about any of them other than some of them you just don't have all the fields. So I use the free in-app Pinterest. You know, we pay for enough stuff. So,
right.
Yeah, it's one less thing, but I do pay for Metrical. You know, I love Metrical. I use it for Instagram, for Facebook and all of those, but it doesn't have the categories for the Pinterest. So I go straight to Pinterest to post those.
Yeah. And honestly, like if you wanted to run your business as cheap as possible, you could pin directly. I mean, it's extra steps, but you can go in and schedule in, like, just keep your tabs open, keep your Facebook business suite open for Facebook and Instagram, and your Pinterest tab open to schedule to Pinterest. And you can go through and schedule all in one go. You just kind of got to navigate tabs. But for the most part, you can do all of that for free and not have to pay for a scheduler if you don't want to.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, with Pinterest, definitely
Yeah.
I think their app's very easy to use. Like I said, you can schedule. That was always the constraints before. You couldn't schedule way out in advance. Now you can. So that's what I use. Because I'll be honest, I do my pens a month at a time. I'm one of those people. I sit down and do a whole month of postings at one time. I want it out of the way. I want to, I spend like one whole day and do all my social media and get it done. But even if you're not that way, if you're doing it a week at a time or something like that, Pinterest is still, lets you schedule it out.
Yeah. So last question, and I'm grabbing this one because I want to know the answer. And I have a feeling, Michelle, that there's not a specific science to this answer, but that's why I like to throw you curveballs. Can we start pinning for Christmas right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Why not?
Yeah. Yes. That just like with any platform, you want at least probably 4 months out. But that's the thing you've got to remember. Everything on Pinterest is evergreen. And there are people that are already thinking, how am I going to decorate for Christmas? What am I going to buy gifts for Christmas? I mean, people start early. I mean, I'm not anymore, but when my son was small, I had all my Christmas shopping done by October 31st. That was my goal every year because his birthday was 2 weeks after Christmas. So I had to get his birthday and Christmas done, and I'd be done by Halloween every year. I'm not that way anymore. No, yes, definitely. You can start putting your Christmas out. That's the thing because again, it's evergreen. It's not showing up for just, 24 hours on the feed. It's evergreen. And there are people searching for Halloween, Halloween, Christmas, 4th of July, we have all those, if you're in the US, all the patriotic holidays come up over the summer, so yeah, definitely at least 4 months in advance, have it on there. But yeah, you can put it on there now, start Christmas. Get ahead of the game.
I pin Christmas stuff. If I'm scrolling organically through my feed and I see a Christmas decoration or something cool, I have a Christmas board that all my Christmas. And if I don't need it now, like around holiday time, I go to my Christmas board and I see all the stuff throughout the year that I saved.
Exactly.
So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and I will grab the questions about Michelle's programs, but if you guys are looking for those, just expand the video description down below or go to pintogrow.com, right? And they're all there.
Yeah, and it's TO, not the number 2. It's a TO, PINTO.
Pintogrow.com. And then use my name, Starla, star like what's in the sky with an LA at the end, Starla. And that will get you 25?
Yes, 25% off through next Thursday at midnight.
Next Thursday. Somebody had asked how long.
Yeah, I'm doing it because, like I said, the other 2 courses release next Friday, so you are pre-buying it. And also, if you buy the bundle, you not only it says you get 1 live Q&A, you're going to get 2 if you buy it before next Thursday. And the one will be in May, and one will be in June, and you'll get emails with the date and times, and you will get the replays on them as well.
Awesome. Marcia had asked, do you have courses for more advanced users? I need help to convert, but she already knows like most of the baseline information. I mean, you're growing, right? You're expanding. You're just not there.
I just started these. I actually have 5 courses scripted out. Like I said, the next 2 that are coming is one specifically on pen designs and converting. So that may be what you're looking for. And I have one coming on... Oh my gosh, I just drew a blank what my other one's on. SEO research, keyword research.
Got it.
For Pinterest specifically, because Pinterest is a little bit different, as far as the different ways you can research it. And where all you should put those keywords. But I have planned out an ad course. I have planned out analytic courses. I have, so I have, I hope to be adding 2 to 3 courses every quarter. So if you sign up and get the free, get my free 2026 best Pinterest practices, that'll put you on the email list, which then you'll get emails of when new courses are released. So yeah, it may just be a little bit of a wait for the more advanced, but they are coming.
Okay. So there's a freebie on your landing page that they can sign up for. Yes. And when they sign up, they're on your list. Okay.
Yeah. On the very front page, you'll see that free guide. It's a PDF you get. It does have a quick checklist too of how to set your account up and the things you should do.
So
it has one of the pages as a setup checklist.
Oh, well, guys, I mean, everybody should go grab that because, I mean, that could be something that, if even if you're not ready to invest in a course, like that can at least like get you started and get you on her list. That way, as she creates new stuff, you're getting those notifications. Heather had asked, does your class teach how to connect your storefront to Pinterest?
That is, I am going to go back and add that to the setup. I didn't at the time, because I was having, I've got to find an example. I've connected all my stores. So
right.
I have to connect something. If you don't know, my mom's a children's book author. So, we have our Shopify store with that, and I've connected it and stuff like that. So I was needing a good example. So if you have the setup course, that will be added. And I'll send out an email too when I get that added. I've just got to either unconnect her store or something to show the steps for doing it, or find a way to do it. Because again, it's not something you can just set up an example of real quick and show how to connect, because you got to go through all these verification steps with Pinterest. So I got to figure out how best I can show that.
Heather said you can use my store as an example.
Okay, I may do that, Heather. If you'll send me an email on it's pin@pin2grow, so PIN@pin2grow.com. And yeah, we'll talk about that, because I needed the example of to record of an actual physical shop I can connect.
Heather makes the coolest lampwork glass pendants. So they're very like aesthetically pleasing. So
okay.
I think that she is a very pinnable brand, in my opinion.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Heather.
Perfect. Will those be additional courses that we need to purchase later on? Yes, because she's not doing like a big course like how Handmade Alpha Academy is. She's selling like the little objectives individually. So if you already know how to do one thing, you don't need to buy all the stuff. You can just buy the thing that you need, or she has a bundle. If you do want all the stuff.
Courses that go together, I'll put bundles together at a discounted price. But the courses are all going to run between about $25 to $60 probably at the most. I want to keep them cheap little, just again, each one tackles one thing. And again, if you don't need to, if you feel like you have keywords down completely and don't need the keywords, then you don't need to buy that one. You can pick and choose which ones work for you.
Cool. That's what everybody asks me for, and I just never built my course. Michelle has been trying to get me for like 7 years to break Handmade Alpha Academy up and sell like just an email list module or just a branding module, and I still have yet to do it. I hate selling. I do. I'm the worst. I'm a teacher. I'm not a salesperson, so I'm bad at it.
I'm not selling, and I went through different mindsets of how I wanted to set this up, but I decided that's how I like buying courses, that I know that what I'm going to accomplish, and it's only what I need. So even though I am a Handmade Alpha, I have Starla's course. So, and I have Christina Cole's Maker's Method. But now I kind of like buying the mini courses. So that's kind of why I set it up that way.
Perfect. And the code Starla is good for a week.
Yeah, until Thursday at midnight Eastern time this next Thursday. What is that, May
24th or 15th?
15th.
15th. Okay.
Yeah. No, the 15th. 14th. 15th is Friday. So through the midnight on the 14th.
Okay. Got it. This is why I always say 11:59 p.m. when I talk about things closing, because people cannot midnight for some reason. And this is a good lesson for everybody. If you're doing product launches or sales and you're advertising it and it goes until midnight, don't say like midnight 12 a.m. on this day. Like always say 11:59 p.m. because people, for some reason, it confuses me too. Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah, people can think of midnight as either day. So yeah, so 11:59 on Thursday, May 14th Eastern time.
Perfect. And $1 million question: do we have lifetime access to the programs?
Yes, you do.
Perfect.
You do. Once you have them, they're yours. Anytime they're updated, you get the updates for any courses you've bought. So yeah, once you purchase a course, it is yours.
Got it. Got it. So next Thursday would be 2 weeks, not this upcoming Thursday, right?
No, Thursday the 14th.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So it is a week from yesterday.
Yeah, a week from yesterday. Yes.
Okay. So that gives everybody who's watching the replay, you got plenty of time now. You've been given adequate notice. All
like
right.
I said, if you want the board course or the workshop course, like I said, you're pre-buying them, but you will have them. They'll be available next Friday, the 15th. So you will have them then. Or if you buy the bundle, you'll get those 2 courses on Friday.
And what are the dates for the live calls again? And
live calls are, I haven't set the exact time yet, so you will get an email on it, but it is going to be on Tuesday, May 26th.
Okay.
And Tuesday, June 16th.
Okay.
And again, if you buy the bundle, you get both of those included, and you will get the replay links as well for them. But you'll get an email exact time. I'm probably looking at like around 7 Eastern time is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to figure out the best time.
AM or PM?
PM. AM.
PM,
Starla, you know me.
Michelle isn't awake at 7 a.m. Eastern time unless she has an appointment.
Exactly. I'm not a morning person.
Or if she stayed up all night and she's still awake. Most of the work that Michelle gets done and sends to me is in the middle of the night.
Yeah, like 1 and 2 a.m. Yeah.
I always get messages from Michelle at like 3 o'clock in the morning where she's like, I finished this. Last thing, what will the live streams cover? Is it just Q&As?
Yeah, it's just a big Q&A. You can submit your questions ahead of time. If you can't make it, you can submit it. It's just basically, you can ask about the courses. You can ask about anything. It's just a live Q&A where you have my full attention, kind of like we did here, of just going through any questions you come up with the courses, with setup, anything that's come up. It's just a live Q&A session.
Okay. And then somebody said, I'm trying to join Pin to Grow and it's not working. Where can they, if they get stuck anywhere in this process, where can they email you? Because we're about to get off stream right now, and I'm sure Michelle can pop right over to her email and help you guys.
Yeah, the email is pin@pin2grow. So PIN at PINTOGROW.com. Pin@pin2grow.com is the email.
Okay. Do you have you have a contact probably down at the bottom of your website too, right? Like that has a support email?
Yes.
Okay. So if they need to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this awesome session. But we had almost 300 people here at peak concurrent viewers. So that's amazing. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us, for hanging out with Michelle. Michelle's brand new to the course creation. And I tell you what, you guys know what my programs are like. You guys know, well, most of you know what Christina Nicole's programs are like. Michelle has been very deeply invested in building these programs and talking to me and talking to Christina. And I haven't checked them out yet. But I absolutely am going to. I have full faith and confidence that Michelle is going to deliver something awesome. But also keep in mind that Michelle's rad. If there's something that she doesn't cover in the programs and you guys think it would make hey, this would make a really great course, or can you make a program on this? Or can you even if you just have a question about something, she is so helpful. She's too willing to help at times. So don't be afraid to reach out to her, or if you have things that you want to learn about, let her know, give her feedback. She's very early in this journey, but I'm excited to see where these go, because I tell you what, I have needed a Pinterest expert in our pocket with the alphas since we started, honestly. There's really been nobody in our ecosystem that, not that I'm saying that there's not anybody, in the world that makes really great Pinterest courses. I'm just saying that with our little circle, I have been waiting for somebody to do this. So I'm really excited it was you, because I've been having.
These are all, I do this for creative businesses. This is Pinterest for creative businesses specifically.
That's perfect.
So that's what I wanted to do. That's my niche. I wanted to focus on creative businesses because there are some different ways, of it from just general Pinterest.
Perfect. Okay. Well, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate you. And next week, I think here on stream, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make mock-ups in Canva, even if you don't sell POD, even if you're handmade, if you just need to make some fun images. And guess what? These images that we're going to be learning how to make together, you can pin them on Pinterest because they're going to be really pretty and really cool. So I'm going to help you kind of, if you join Michelle's program and you're like really wondering like, what the heck do I do now? Like, what do I make? I'll show you next week how to make some cool stuff that you could use for Pinterest. You could use it for Instagram. You could use it for your Etsy listings. You could put it anywhere. But thanks so much for hanging out, guys. And thank you to Michelle. Michelle, feel free to stick around for a minute. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. How do I do this? How do I end it? Okay.
Which button?
Hey, which button? Oh, wait. Oh, and they're going to get an ad for Handmade Alpha Academy afterwards. I should. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.
I love HAA.
Before I joined HAA in the winter session of 2023, I had no clue what to do for my Etsy shop.
The way that Starla goes into details about what different color psychology is and how to market to your target customer, she really breaks it down step by step.
Starla and Mark will break everything down in a simple, easy to understand teaching style. If I can do this, you can do this.
And with HAA, I have a step-by-step module, each module building on itself, each step building on itself, so that I have that concrete foundation.
As a person who has ADHD, I really appreciated the way that the lessons were taught.
I have the business foundation to do whatever I need to help that business succeed.
And I just thought that that was so impressive for a course to just be so inside my brain that I was constantly thinking of how to make the store better.
So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, I would highly recommend joining Handmade Alpha Academy.
It's been a lifesaver for me, and I mean that quite literally.